Action.
I'd like to call this meeting to order. First, I'd like to point out where our fire exits are, just to my left through this door and the door through which we all came in today. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Can we have a roll call attendance, please?
Member Member Spencer.
Present.
Member Sprata.
Present.
Member Menard.
Present.
Member Yarborough.
Present.
Acting Chairman Delaney.
Here. Whenever you're ready, legal notice, please.
Please take notice that the Zoning Board of Appeals of the Village of Depew will hold a public hearing on January 11th, 2024 at 7 p.m. in the council chambers of the municipal building, 85 Manitou Street, Depew, New York, to consider the application of Bowler Engineering and Landscape Architecture on behalf of O'Reilly Auto Parts Store for the property located at 6142 Transit Road, Depew, New York, of Chapter 260, subset 260-34E1, requesting relief from 49 parking space requirement to be allowed 35 parking spaces for an auto parts store, and of Chapter 260, subset 260-37E, pylon 2, to be allowed to erect a pole pylon sign, requesting relief from maximum facial area permitted of 80 square feet. Proposed sign would be 150 square feet. A pre-board meeting will begin at 6:30 p.m. in the conference room of the municipal building, 85 Manitou Street, Depew, New York. Any and all persons interested in such application will be heard at this time.
Okay, please step forward, tell us your name, and tell us what you'd like to do here today.
Make it easier to
Please.
walk through.
Sure.
Please.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Scott Shearing, and I am from Bowler Engineering.
Okay.
And we've had a pleasure working with the village thus far. And we're looking for relief. Should I move this back so everybody can see?
Please.
Can everybody see this way?
Yeah. It's good.
So, you're familiar with the site itself. It's 6142 Transit Road. You can see the Transit Road right here. This is a very unique project, parcel, and I'll get into some details on that. The shape of the parcel, it is 0.9 acres. That's the limit that we have to work with as per the agreement that the owner has. This is really what we have to that we're limited to, is just a 0.98. We're just under an acre. And with that, we are proposing a 7,000 square foot retail building for our parts. 7,000 of that, 2,500, just over a third of it, is considered backroom storage. It's where you're storing your auto parts in the back, but it's not walkable retail space where you're getting your brake fluid or your light bulbs and that kind of thing. And that becomes important, and I'll explain that a little bit as well. The site design and the layout. Right now, the original site has 2 curb cuts. We work with DOT all the time. It's standard practice to eliminate those completely. We're going to have one consolidated curb cut here. That would actually it'd be a shared entrance only. And with that, the building sits back for this. I'm just going to touch on the design of the site. About 140 feet from this main road. We're here this evening looking for relief for parking. We have a fixed component of space that we work with, and obviously it's a 0.98 acre of a site. We have an existing residential area back here. 35 is the number that we do a lot of. Actually, they're our client. We do all their program work. They're a national firm, and we always propose 30 to 35. That satisfies more than the need for the shop to begin with. Although your code says it's 49, it's a lot of malls, a lot of retail. It's all over park. There's lots of green. If we were to comply with that, We'd be cutting in an existing landscape buffer for this residential area. And we would, we just have to rework things. Right now we have interior green space of 22%. Code is 5%, so there's a lot more green on the site. We've accounted for the need for parking. It's just considerably overparked for this specific use, so we're looking for some relief on that. There's going to be a fence here as an additional buffer for the neighbors. I heard some talk previously, the site design. These little, what you may see, the roof runoff will be to the back. That's just a stone area to have roof washout. Down here in the front, we have some retention areas where the sheet flow for the drive itself will kind of a pocket in here. We've done some soil testing. We know that the area can take it. So we've already done our due diligence. This access here will be an interconnect for pedestrian access. So the overall site of the parcel itself, we have a rather large area. It's because of the tractor trailers, the box trucks that actually do deliveries. So we've done a truck route and the truck path to account for that. I don't mean to stand in front of everybody's way. So the overall site design, maximizing the green space, maintain as much as we can, still consideration for the neighbors. And the site itself, I guess as it relates to parking, we have 2 to 5 employees typically, depending on if they're unloading a truck. But if you've gone to any parts store, there's never more than 2 or 3 because it takes me a little while to get, cash out type thing. So maybe you have the same scenario. So all that's kind of factored in. And if you had any questions on the parking, I want to be able to address them now. But or should I just jump right into the signage?
I would say continue with the sign variance, and then we'll
That's
ask
what
all
I'll
questions afterwards.
The site is 140 feet setback. There are a lot of buildings up front. This building over here, there's more screenage over here with some trees. This is a 40-mile-an-hour road. We need to have a sign here that can capture the visibility of the entrance to provide enough time for customers to enter the site. None of the other, with this frontage right here, it completely screens the building. And you'll see the same thing come back here. We need a larger sign up here to capture that for safety measures. So again, that combined entrance, it's going to be, we're closing off these other 2 entrances. So just that visibility alone, we aren't looking for relief on the height, just more prominent visibility for the sign for safety reasons. The only other signage on the site is going to be just for identification right above the door. There's no other perimeter signing on here. We certainly, there's no advantage to that at all. But we are looking for relief just for that reason as it relates to the signage. And I guess, so that relief, I understand that 80 square foot is permitted and we're looking at 150. And that really just comes down to the uniqueness of the site, how far back the building is set up, one entrance, and it's a 40-mile-an-hour road. Just for safety reasons, that's really what it stems from.
I'd just like to note that personally, I like the idea of more green space as opposed to more parking spaces. I think that if indeed it'll look like the way you have it set up here, that'd be a good look for the property. That's just my personal belief. But I'd like to open this up to the board for questions. Member Sprata, any questions?
Oh, yeah, I've got, of course.
Please.
What kind of fencing are you talking about?
6-foot stockade.
Stockade, 6 foot?
6-foot stockade is proposed, yes.
For what area, what amount, what area?
Just over here as a buffer to the neighbors.
To the residential.
That's right. There's already a tree-line buffer. It's so tough, like right now, there's no leaves on there, so it'll look a little more full during the time of year and everything, but there'll be an additional 6-foot fence placed there.
Okay, green space towards Transit Road there, those 2 ovals, those are retention ponds?
Stormwater sheets from the drive
Yeah,
right to these are little washout areas, so it actually doesn't wash away or erode any of the soils.
Okay.
And it'll be stored there. So it's not even stored there, so just the drainage there is good, and it just recharges the groundwater there.
okay, and what about that, just north of the building, what is that? Is that the same thing?
It is.
Okay.
Yep, we'd like to go for that.
All right, snow removal, what are your plans?
Well, typically, we would do a plow placement, because I know you guys in Buffalo here, I'm from Depew, Warsaw. We will actually park the snow in different areas, but not obstruct anything. Should the need come about, there is a removal that they've done in the past,
Yeah.
with a backhoe, a dump truck, and they clean it up.
It won't take, the snow removal or snow plowing won't take away from the parking spaces
will
or
not.
anything? Okay. The sign out the entrance there, what type of sign is that? It says in square feet, but is it going to be an oval, like a lollipop sign?
I
A
believe-
square, a rectangle?
I'm glad you asked, that's a great question, because I have some, okay. I guess this was look better on paper, so let me do this. So, just a typical rectangle.
Rectangle, okay. You know what the dimensions are offhand, about
I do, it's
approximately?
actually 15 by 5 foot.
15 feet
5 foot.
long and 5 feet high.
That's correct.
Okay. Let's see if I have any more questions. Oh, any other O'Reillys in the Western New York area at this time? I know it's a national firm.
So they're looking, and they are under several, they're looking at several sites. I believe there was one, I'm gonna say no, because I can't even identify the site. I was told that there's a couple of them that are west of Rochester, but I can't put my finger on the town.
But there's no existing stores in this area.
That's
This will be the
correct.
first?
That's correct.
Okay. I think that's it for my questions.
Okay, thank you, Member Spada. Anything, Member Menard?
You mentioned in the parking lot situation for parking spaces and tractor trailers pulling in and pulling out and box trucks. Is there enough room? How is tractor trailers affecting getting in and out? Are they backing in and turning around in the parking lot to get out? Or are they gonna have to pull out onto Transit Road to get themselves situated to come in and out?
So first, tractor trailers are typically done, and because this location is kind of one that's remote, you don't have one main tractor trailer system that's going to be going out and have many stops because it's the only one in the area. So for now, it's probably a box truck, but let's assume the worst case scenario.
Okay, either one.
Let's assume the worst case scenario. The typical movement is to pull in here, back up here, do the unloading.
And then they'll pull right out. Okay, so there's no jockeying out onto the main road.
No jacking out, and it's always done after hours of the store. I
Okay.
should say always, unless it's unavoidable, it's done off hours
Okay,
of the operation of the store.
fair enough. Like I said, I see it. Sometimes
Yeah.
you have a little bit of jockeying going on, and but you've explained that very well. Thank you. That was all my question.
All right, Member Menard. Member Spencer?
Yeah, just one comment. So you say that's a 7,000 square foot building?
Yes.
And 2/3 of it is basically warehousing. Your retail area is going to be much smaller, 7,000 square.
2/3 is the retail. 1/3.
Oh, retail, okay.
1/3 is going to be what I'll call back of house
The
or
back of house.
employee only.
Okay, so if you did 2/3 of that 7,000, the formula for the required number of parking spaces, is that much different at that 2/3 of 7,000, or are we looking at the entire 7,000 square feet?
It is probably a measurable difference.
Right, but the
I don't-
35 they're asking for is not out of the,
No, it's
it's
not
not
at all.
unreasonable, so, okay.
Anything else?
No, that's it.
Member Yarborough, nothing?
Questions?
Anything at all from legal?
No, nothing from me. Thank you for answering everyone's questions.
Questions, comments, concerns from code?
No.
Pat, I got one more question.
Okay, Member Sprata, please.
I forgot to ask, what are your hours of operation? And is it 7 days a week? And hours?
Okay, so this has changed twice, so I'm just trying to think that it's 8 to 9.
8 a.m. to 9 p.m.?
And I believe on Sundays, it's until 5. And I hate to put that out there and have it memorialized, but I really believe that that's the case. And how about when we do I can do a follow-up formal letter, just identifying that, if you'd like.
Okay.
But I believe that those are the hours.
So at this point, you're saying it's a 7-day-a-week operation?
I am, yes. 7 days, but the hours on Sundays are
Are
slightly less.
shortened, yeah. Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
So with that said, we'll do the first variance for the parking spaces. We'll do the 6 criteria for an area variance as part of the packet you filled out. You answered these questions. I'll read the questions and answers. Number 1, will an undesirable change be produced in the character of the neighborhood or detriment to nearby properties be created by granting of the area variance? Once again, I want to state this for the parking space variance. You wrote, please reference the attached application for area variance project narrative. I would say it's a no. That it will not create a detriment. Number 2, can the benefits sought by you, the applicant, be achieved by some other method other than an area variance? You wrote the same thing, please reference the attached application, and I would say that's also a no. Number 3, is the requested area variance substantial? Same answer, and I would say that it is not substantial. Number 4, will the proposed area variance have an adverse effect or impact physical or environmental conditions in the neighborhood or district? You wrote the same, please reference the attached application, and I would say that it will not create an adverse effect or impact the physical or environmental conditions. 5, is the alleged difficulty self-created, which consideration shall be relevant to the decision of the Zoning Board of Appeals, but not necessarily preclude the granting of the requested area variance? You wrote the same answer, and I would say this one's a yes. And last but not least, what is the minimum area variance deemed necessary and adequate? Same answer, and it's 14 spaces relief, correct, Kate?
Yeah.
So we're going to do both these, excuse me, we're going to do separately as far as the granting. That's a procedure, correct, Sam?
Yes.
Okay. So who would like to put forth a motion to grant or deny the parking space variance as presented?
I'll make a motion.
Motion made by member Yarborough,
I'll second it.
seconded by member Sprata. Roll call vote, please.
Member Spencer?
Yes.
Member Sprata?
Yes.
Member Menard?
Yes.
Member Yarborough?
Yes.
Acting Chairman Delaney?
Yes.
That would be 5 yes, variance approved for the parking.
So the thing they attached is the narrative.
Okay.
I think we gotta spend the time reading that.
Where they go into detail.
Where is it?
I mean, I think we can, can save some time and make the narrative submission part of the record.
Oh, okay.
And,
I thought,
we're not really doing it right if we do it that way. We should. He referenced this variance project narrative that should be read into the record. That's the right way to do it.
okay, so I'm gonna be sure I'm reading the right thing though. Some of the stuff is double-sided.
Oh, there it is. So it's this long one with his letterhead. 3 pages. Here you go. It's this.
Oh,
Next one.
You don't need to read the introduction, just the inquiries. So he answered all your
is this part
questions.
here?
There's 2. So are we doing, so he did them both together.
Oh, I see, yeah, okay. Yeah, I got it.
Sorry about how these minutes are gonna look, Rebecca.
It's okay.
Okay. So, this one is for, okay, so should I just, I'm just gonna read the whole thing. Okay.
Just so the questions you normally read, you skip the introduction.
Yeah. Okay, so, this is the project narrative as submitted by the applicant. Considerations of approval, reference from area variance application. Number 1, will an undesirable change be produced in the character of the neighborhood or a detriment to nearby properties be created by granting of the area variance. The requested variance, A, referring to the parking space variance, would allow for the construction of a new plus or minus 7,000 square foot retail building and associated site features while minimizing the impact on the surrounding neighborhood by decreasing the amount of asphalt on site and allowing for more lawn and landscaping areas. Based on previous O'Reilly Auto Parts stores, 30 to 35 parking spaces are an appropriate number of parking spaces for the size of the proposed store and anticipated demand for O'Reilly standard development for a store of this size. The requested sign area variance, B, is a relatively small impact of 70 square foot, 35 square foot on each side. The proposed development consists of only 2 exterior signs, one building mounted, which is code compliant, and the proposed pole sign. The relief of 35 square foot on each side is necessary for the long-term success of the proposed development for adequate visibility of the store from Transit Road, while maintaining the general character of the neighborhood with developments to the north, south, and east having larger signs. Number 2, can the benefits sought by you, the applicant, be achieved by some other method other than an area variance? For parking area variance A, no 2 alternative options have been viewed, but both deemed unfeasible. The 2 options include, number 1, reduction in size to building floor area. The proposed storefront is designed at a minimum floor area to provide service to customers with plus or minus 2,500 square foot of the facility strictly back of house storage of parts and supplies. Number 2, development of land to the north of the proposed building. The development of more land to the north does not benefit the proposed development and would be more intrusive on the residential developments to the north and west. The proposed plan maintains a buffer for these existing residential uses. Thus, a relief of 14 parking stalls is requested. For sign area variance B, no, none, that would not require additional relief. The enhanced visibility granted by this relief is necessary for the overall site visibility, safe access to the site, and the long-term success of the new development on Transit Road. In reviewing the surrounding neighborhood, the proposed sign is more in line with the character of the surrounding area. 3, is the requested area variance substantial? The requested variances do not pose a detriment to the surrounding community, as the requests are consistent with the ongoing development along the Transit Road. Allowing for the relief of 14 parking stalls would increase the amount of lawn and landscaped areas consistent current developments along the Transit Road corridor. The proposed parking count, 35, should be adequate for the anticipated parking demand of the proposed O'Reilly Auto Parts store based on previous development. The area variance requested for relief of 70 square foot for the sign area, 35 square foot on each side, poses no impact on the surrounding community while maintaining a greater visibility for a new development to advertise their new location to a new market. Number 4, will the proposed area variance have an adverse effect or impact the physical or environmental conditions of the neighborhood? The requested parking area variance will minimize any adverse effects to the physical or environmental conditions of the neighborhood by reducing the amount of required impervious surfaces and allowing for more open space to be utilized for stormwater mitigation features and landscaping, while also maintaining the surrounding character of the neighborhood by providing landscape buffering, pedestrian access routes, and enhanced drainage. The proposed variances also allow the development to maintain the buffer to the north and west of the site to the residential uses. The requested sign variance will have no impact on the physical or environmental conditions of the neighborhood. 5, is the alleged difficulty self-created, which consideration shall be relevant to the decision of the Zoning Board of Appeals, but not necessarily preclude the granting of the requested area variance. The alleged difficulty for the requested parking relief is a product of the building size required to optimize the operations with additional back-of-house storage capacity that does not increase the need for additional parking spaces. Although the variance can be perceived as self-created, the proposed 35 parking stalls are greater than what is necessary to properly serve the store. The store has been sized with the minimum floor area necessary for its operations. The alleged difficulty with regard to sign facial area could be considered self-created. However, it's necessary for adequate visibility and notice for guests to see the appropriate entrance and have time to make safe turning maneuvers into the site via the shared access driveway. Last but not least, what is the minimum area variance deemed necessary and adequate? The applicant, O'Reilly Auto Enterprises LLC, is requesting a reduction in the minimum required parking spaces from 49 to 35. decrease of 14 spaces. To provide more landscaping and buffering area, additional parking could be installed, however, it is not necessary for the proposed use. O'Reilly Auto Enterprises LLC is also requesting a relief of 70 square foot or 35 square foot on each side for the proposed pole sign. It has been deemed this to be the minimum necessary for safe visibility of the site and site driveways.
Good job.
Thank you.
I'd ask for the motion again, just to make it clean.
Just to make it clean. Okay. Once again, can we put forth a motion to grant or deny the parking space variance as requested?
And to clarify on the record, we're doing this twice because of the lack of substance in the prior motion. Now that we have a developed record,
Yes.
the motion will be made based on the developed record.
I'll make the motion to grant the variance.
Motion made by member Yarborough, second.
I'll second it.
Seconded by member Sprata. Roll call vote, once again, please.
Member Spencer?
Yes.
Member Sprata?
Yes.
Member Menard?
Yes.
Member Yarborough?
Yes.
Acting Chairman Delaney?
Yes.
5 yes, motion approved.
Okay. Now, since we've read that in and we just have to kind of give our response to the questions, correct? To the second one?
I think you kind of covered both, unless you have any issues, you can just move them.
Well, I mean, I have to still,
Because he put them both together. But yeah, you can go through
Yeah.
and note, yes,
So-
yes.
all right. So for the sign variance, for number one, will an undesirable change be produced in the character of the neighborhood or detriment to nearby properties be created by the granting of the area variance? I'd say that's a no. Number two, can the benefit sought by you, the applicant, be achieved by some other method other than an area variance? I'll say it's a no. Is the requested area variance substantial? I would say this one is substantial, yes. Four, will the proposed area variance have an adverse effect or impact the physical or environmental conditions of the neighborhood or district? I'd say it's a no. And number five, is alleged difficulty self-created which consideration shall be relevant to the decision of the zoning board of appeals, but not necessarily preclude the granting of the requested area variance? That's yes. And last but not least, minimum area variance deemed necessary and adequate is 70 square foot or 35 on each side, as you noted in your application. Correct, Kate? Okay. So with that, can we put forth a motion to grant or deny this variance as presented?
I make a motion to grant the variance as presented.
Motion made by member Menard. Do we have a second?
I'll second.
Second by member Spencer. Roll call vote, please.
Member Spencer?
Yes.
Member Sprata?
Yes.
Member Menard?
Yes.
Member Yarborough?
Yes.
Acting Chairman Delaney?
Yes.
5 yes, variance approved.
Congratulations.
Thank you very much for your time, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Before you leave, I got one question.
Sure.
Do you have a tentative opening date?
No, we have some finalized things with the planning and with DOT. I wish I could say it's as soon as possible, but if I were to just put a timeline, I'm gonna say it's early summer, if we can move that quickly, but a lot of players and variables that come in.
Yeah. Early summer 24.
Yes,
Okay, thank you.
and that may be optimistic.
Yeah.
DOT is kind of there's just a lot of variables, but that's certainly a target.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Can we have a motion to close the hearing?
I'll make a motion, we close the hearing.
Member Sprata, do we have a second?
I'll second.
Second by member Spencer. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye.